It's like I'm watching a movie with an actual tight plot where each scene actually furthers the story along in some way, and there are character arcs and emotional moments that land, and it's pretty funny and overall a good time. Seriously, who the hell made this movie? Because it sure wasn't Illumination. The minions are perfectly fine in this one. They're just charming background characters who don't take focus away from the main ones. There's only one scene with them in this movie that's a little too hyperactively focused on minion shenanigans, and that's when they go to the store to get a new unicorn toy. And this scene right here is the blueprint. This is ground zero for what would become the tone of every Illumination movie to follow this one. It's genuinely chilling to stare into the eye of the beast and remember that this is the exact point where it all went wrong. I have no idea why, but Vector's existence just makes me lose it. I mean, he's Vector, committing crimes with both direction and magnitude. I have severe brain rot when it comes to this goofy villain dude, because whenever I see a meme involving him, or see him activate his flight suit, or see him activate his flight suit, I just burst out into a massive fit of laughter. All of them except for the Seth MacFarlane mouse, who thankfully isn't in this one at all, and they don't even address what happened to him after the last movie. He was last seen driving off with a bear hanging onto his car, so everyone assumes he's canonically dead. And that is just the funniest thing in the world to me. Despicable Me Too. Did you know that this movie's tagline on Letterboxd is "Back to Work"? That's probably the most generic tagline you could possibly put for a sequel of all time. Is that official, or did Letterboxd do that? Like, huh? Also, fun fact, this is currently the one and only Illumination movie to be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. This one. Okay. I mean, it is one of the better ones, I guess. It's also not very good. I don't hate the minions in this one, but I do feel nothing towards them. They're just there, being their delightfully no longer entertaining selves. The fact that they're all animals is completely pointless, and they never do any work to flesh out this animal world, because that would require talent that Illumination clearly does not have. Bringing back so many classic beloved characters like Dr. Nefario, the bank guy, the anti-villain league guy, everyone's favorites. And they even referenced Vector. Holy shit, my entire theater erupted when that happened. It was epic. This was simultaneously the most epic movie I've ever seen in my life, and bad. The Vicious Six had the potential to be super funny, what with their creative concepts and designs, but man, they just have nothing to do in this movie until the ending fight. It's such a waste of these characters and the celebrities who voice them. Also, the minions have to rescue Gru, so they learn Kung Fu for some reason, and this doesn't go anywhere and doesn't really add to the plot, and it's a waste of time. And also, there's this other minion who rides with this biker guy, and it's also a waste of time. The funniest thing about it is that you can just watch it without having seen the first Minions at all, which is hysterical and obviously what I would recommend. The villain in this one is a child star from the 80s, and that's his entire character. He makes 80s references, and he likes referencing the show he was on as a child. At one point, he even says it's on like Donkey Kong, which is probably foreshadowing something. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out what it is later. The villain has no presence throughout the entire middle chunk of this movie, and his supposed rivalry with Gru is so poorly established that it's impossible to care about him. He just doesn't do anything outside of the first scene of the movie and the climax. Instead, for most of the movie, we're just dicking around at Drew's house so the Goyles can go on wacky misadventures that are better suited for a Despicable Me TV show. And Gru and Drew can do bullshit shenanigans together until they need to steal a diamond from the 80s boy, and then Drew can show that he's ridiculously stupid and incompetent and a waste of a character. I'm so glad we had like 6 scenes focusing on them. That's nice. Also, they froze Dr. Nefario in carbonate because they didn't know what to do with him in this movie. That's incredible. I guess it was kinda sweet to see Lucy try and bond with the Goyles. The opening scene was pretty cool, and the climax wasn't bad, and I liked Trey Parker's performance as 80s boy. And that's about it. Overall, this wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was very much not good, and I feel like it added nothing substantial to Despicable Me as a whole. The songs are not bad, all things considered, yet they pale in comparison to the incredible rock opera ballad Biggering, which was cut from the movie for being too anti-corporate. and it fucking slaps, and you should listen to it right now. Yes, the fact that the marketing for the movie insisted that products that were bad for the environment were Lorax approved, which is a sentiment that within the movie itself is portrayed as a bad and dishonest thing, and overall it's a genuinely dystopian concept brought to life by our good friends at Illumination. No, nothing in this movie made me laugh unironically. Not even the great zinger of a line, "That's a woman?" Wow, wasn't that such a great joke? Remember when it was in every fucking trailer and commercial for this movie back in 2012? Minions is a movie with the minions and they do the minion things, and I like to eat a banana and they like bananas, and then they have to be the minions in order to they gotta serve the lady who doesn't like she doesn't like the minions because they do the thing that she wanted them to do, but then she didn't want the one minion becomes king, and then he gives her the crown, but then she doesn't like them anymore, and then she tries to hang them, and that was my favorite part of the movie. The opening where they accidentally kill all their masters throughout history was pretty funny actually, and this is also where the movie peaks, in the first 5 minutes. You can shut it off after this scene, you're not missing anything. Okay, but also, I thought this jovial family of villains that they hitch a ride with to VillainCon was pretty funny, and I kinda wish the movie was about them instead of boring-ass Scarlet Overkill. There's also this cool stop-motion sequence in the middle that was kinda neat. I like when they're watching the dating game, and then Stuart's like, "Yeah, Stuart." Such a dull, irritating affair with so many scenes that feel like a complete waste of time, and I don't even really have that much to say about it. Except for this! It's still better than Cars 2, because at least it knows it's a stupid piece of shit film for babies, and it's just a prequel spin-off that isn't entirely derailing an entire prestigious studio's reputation for all time. You can like any movie that I don't like, and it's completely valid to do so, you silly head. But yeah, in my humble opinion that you can totally disagree with, Minions and Cars 2 both deserve to rot in hell, but even though they're both down there, Minions has the high ground. Everything about this movie is a waste of time, and I couldn't wait for it to be over, and I don't even know what else to say about it. Somebody stop Illumination before they kill again. The animation is literally the only thing worthy of praise in this empty fucking void of quote-unquote entertainment. It made me long for the days of the Jim Carrey Grinch. A movie I really didn't like, but at least I felt something watching that. At least it was funny bad and had a distinct personality to it. Illumination's Grinch is empty and lifeless. The voice we got comes across as more weird than nasty and mischievous. Which, by the way, that's the whole character. He's not really villainous at all, he's just a mildly grumpy weirdo who never does anything that lives up to the character's reputation. The original Grinch looked and felt deeply sinister. The Jim Carrey Grinch was a fucking menace to society. This one, he eats a pickle without paying for it, and he knocks a jar off the shelf. Whoa, watch out, we got a bad boy over here. They chalk all of his incredibly mild meanness up to his backstory of never having a family during Christmas time. It's so generic and trite and played out. And even though his backstory in the Jim Carrey version was kinda dumb, I definitely wouldn't call it generic. In this version, he catches a reindeer, but then lets it go because its family shows up. And he never had a family, so he doesn't want to separate them. Oh no! The other Grinches would have been like tough shit and forced the reindeer to help, only trying to get him back with his family after he has the change of heart at the end. By having him do something completely selfless and kind in the middle of the movie, you basically destroyed the impact of the ending where he's supposed to do his first truly kind act. Which, may I remind you, is the entire point of the story. It's like they were afraid to make him too mean or unlikable because they didn't think kids had long enough attention spans to make it to the end of their bloated, filler-coded bastardization of a classic story in order to see that he ends up good at the end. I have no idea how this studio made an entire film franchise about supervillains, and yet they can't even make the Grinch nasty or threatening. It's really fucking embarrassing. The 60s short is an infinitely better way to experience the story of the book, and the Jim Carrey Grinch is an infinitely better way to experience a hilarious, unforgettable bastardization of the book. This version has no purpose and added nothing to the story of the Grinch or the world as a whole. The emptiness of its existence would be hysterical.